Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, business owners. It's Leon Street back again, and I've got another great topic for you. I'm actually really excited to share this one with you because it's something that I often see as a challenge and a hindrance to the success of a lot of coaches and experts that I work with. And the thing is, once it's identified, a lot of opportunities, success, and results follow. And I believe you guys will get a lot of value out of this. So, let's get into this. Today, I'm talking about the number one reason why coaching and expert businesses fail and how to avoid it. And even if a business doesn't fail, what happens is they usually get to a point where they hit a ceiling and they can't get past that plateau. And so we're going to be looking at that today, guys. As always, remember, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching me on YouTube live right now, I appreciate you. And if you're not, if you're watching on Facebook or elsewhere, please go to www.leonstreet.com/YouTube and you'll be redirected to the YouTube channel where you can simply click on subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of all upcoming videos. So let's look at this first of all. And I think, if you're an expert and you find that actually you quite consistently hit a plateau or you can't get past a certain level, here's what I want to share with you. The more distracted you are by the activities and ideas that pull you away from your vision, the more unfulfilled you become. And this is actually my own quote, guys, and it's something that I kind of internalize and also share, like I say, with clients quite regularly. And it's important to spot the challenges around being in business and being distracted. And here's the thing: I would have never thought of being distracted in the early part of my career. I would have always thought I was busy, but sometimes you can be so busy that you don't realize that you're actually being busy and being distracted at the same time. Some of those things that you're being busy with are actually distractions. And so what I'm going to talk about today is how to get beyond distractions and even know if you're actually being distracted in the first place, which a lot of people don't see. And especially when I'm speaking to coaches and they don't see it for the first time or they don't realize it. And when I break it down and say, hey, here's the reason why this isn't working, or here's the reason why you're not getting any closer to your goals, and it's because of this distraction. Whereas for them, they thought it was actually helping them get towards where they needed to get to. But it's only at the point of awareness that you can be, somebody who looks back with 20/20 vision and say, actually, wow, I was like really off track there. I was taken on a tangent. I had no idea about the distraction. And that's what I want to talk about, guys. And, if this resonates with you, if you feel like sometimes you can, you're really busy, but you end up doing something that didn't really get you any further forward or didn't really contribute to the goal or the vision that you want to create. And somehow you just can't figure out why things aren't progressing any further forward. This video is for you guys. So I'm going to share, I've got about 3 or 4 stories that I'm going to share. And with these stories, what I hope that you get from it is to raise your awareness to perhaps if you're being distracted right now. Yeah. And if you are, the first step in any progress or any movement going forward is awareness. Yeah. You have to become aware to the fact that perhaps you are being distracted. So story number 1, I've got a client and he was in a position where he wanted to change his business, change his income. And the approach that he was on in terms of where he wanted to go, to him, it was very clear. And so what we did is we went through the steps of having a kind of review on where his goals and where his vision was. And off the back of that, we were able to look at, where does he need to be in terms of what services he's offering his clients, and also what goals had he set himself and what activities was he doing or planning to do that would lead him towards achieving that goal. And when we started to look at, where his business was, first of all, I identified what needed to happen in terms of changing what service it was, the promise to his clients, the goals that he was setting himself, which were way low, compared to where his potential was. And I remember listening, and I listened to it quite regularly, actually, a Les Brown audiobook. And I'll tell you what the name is in a moment, it's on my Audible, but I usually play it in the mornings to my kids as well on the way to school. but I want to share it with you because I think it's a powerful part that or Les Brown talks about. So it's called Step Into Your Greatness. That's the audio book. But anyway, what Les says is that the problem is most people are setting goals that are way too low and they hit the goals, and that's the problem. You see, the thing is, you've got to set yourself goals that are much bigger than where you are and go for those. You see, too many people are achieving low level goals, which leads to low level living, low level thinking. And so with my client, we'd set up the opportunity for him to create a new product, new service, launch it. And what he was able to do is take his business literally from around about £2,000 a month to £18,000 in sales. And it was literally within 30 days of launching a new offer. But here's the point of distraction and how you can get pulled back. After achieving that, and I was speaking to him and we were discussing about what he was going to do going forward and the upcoming month, about going for those results again. He started talking to me about other opportunities, other things, other projects, other people approaching him now that people are starting to see the new offer. And these things would pull him off track. And so when he was sharing these ideas with me, he was sharing them from the point of view of, oh, look, another great opportunity. And so it was only at that point that I realized, like, whoa, you're creating these new opportunities that require time, require you to spend more money. And as I was speaking to him, I said, so why don't you just want to replicate what you just did by generating another 18,000 without having to give up more time and money to make those things work? And when those things are working, they're not going to produce the kind of results you've just done in the last 30 days. And it was only at that point that he realized, when I explained, that actually he was being drawn back to his old ways. See, what I coached him on and what I taught him the month prior when he generated £18,000, jumping from £2,000 a month, was the ability to deliver something that was a world-class service. But what happened was these new opportunities and people started to approach him when they seen his activity, and he was being pulled back to things that would actually pull him away from his vision and his goals. And what was really interesting is that when we started to break down where he was and what he'd just done with his new goal that he just achieved last month, the new result even, what he realized is the new things that were coming along as new opportunities, new ideas, people approaching him, were actually now a major distraction because it was pulling him away from the clients he just sold this new service to. And this is the point I want to get to, guys, is that when you achieve a great result, do you often then go into this period of not being able to achieve that result again because you're busy doing something now that you've achieved, or now that you'd previously achieved a great result? And this is part of the distraction, guys. But the point of me sharing this with you is what you got to understand is that you as a human being, you are a habitual being, meaning that you do things out of habit. And the thing is, if you don't spot what habits you have, you'll be pulled back to the old ways. And your job is to raise your awareness so that you understand, what are these bad habits? What are these habits that don't serve you? Even if you wouldn't class them as bad habits, but what are these habits that don't serve you or where you're going with your goals and your vision going forward? And this is a really important step because it really is about self-awareness. And most people are too busy to even notice that there's a difference here, and that actually I can stop, I can look around and think, oh, I'm actually going back to these old ways, these old habits. So that's story number one. So story number two. So this is another client. And with this client, a similar process actually, but the outcome is slightly different, or the challenge that he experiences is slightly different, but it's similar processing. I coached this other person, and we were able to help him grow his business. Again, he'd started to generate sales. And what happened was, once he generated these sales, he started to then look at the audience he was serving. And the discussions that we had were, I'm really happy about the results I've just achieved, but what I want to do now is go and serve this audience over here, who are my perfect audience. And I said, oh, okay, so tell me more about this audience. And what I realized is as he was explaining about this new audience, not the audience he'd just created these great results in selling to, but a new audience, we explored if, and I have this term in my program, and one of my programs, it's basically my starter program called Vortex Accelerator. And the term that I have is, when you attract a new customer in, is it a hell yes type of customer? And a hell yes simply means that they're the perfect type of customer for you to serve. So I'm speaking to my client and I say to my client, I'm like, is that a hell yeah client? And there are 3 steps with a hell yeah client. You like working with them, you can help them, and they can afford to pay you. And the 3rd one, can afford to pay you. When I was speaking to my client, he said, no, actually they can't afford to pay me. And I'm like, okay. So the previous couple of weeks, he'd been selling to a different audience who were buying and paying him happily. So I said to him, I said, so why are you choosing now to go back to this audience and start marketing to this audience and they can't afford to pay you? And what I realized is, when we went into it more and more and we started to look at his business model and the fact that he was now discounting his prices, what I realized is that he had a fear around growth and a fear around money, and therefore a fear around self-worth. And so this story comes back to, and the point of this story now is, he was distracted by his own fears and his own values around self-worth. And let me explain how this can show up for you. See, the thing is, he was convinced that the market he wanted to help was the market that he had to serve. And because of his past interactions with this niche, with this target audience, and their inability to pay, he felt like, oh, I can take my new offer to this audience and simply discount it, but I'll attract more of them. And the reality is that you can be distracted sometimes by these thoughts like, let me go back to the old target audience because I'm scared of actually presenting my new offer to them and getting more people saying no. And the reality is that when you get more people saying no, because you're very clear on the target audience you want to serve, and you're very clear on the value you bring and the outcome you're going to give these people, you have to be open and okay for the people who don't qualify to say no to you, and stick it out and focus on the people who will say yes because they're a hell yeah type of client. And that's the point that I want to get to, is that in growing your business, you can be distracted by old ways, by old thoughts, but also fears. Yeah. And again, a lot of people miss this because they don't see as a fear. They think, oh, that's the market I'm serving. That's what they will allow in terms of, pricing, and that's what people will pay up to. But usually it's our own fears and it's our own self-worth that we put in front of actually just going for it. So that's this distraction story number 2. Okay. Story number 3. So this one is about avoiding ownership. Now, I've also got some books that I'm recommending to you guys as well. I've got a few steps I'm going to share with you after I share these stories, and there's 4 key books as well. And actually one of them is around extreme ownership. But the point I want to get to now in story number 3 around avoiding distractions. And for me, this is important because a lot of business owners come up with this one. And the avoiding ownership is when you're approached by a party, a third party, or another person who potentially could be a business partner. And they come to you because now they're seeing great things you're doing, and they reach out to you and say, hey, how about we work together? And then you automatically think, maybe 2 minds are better than 1. And here's the thing. For a lot of coaches and a lot of experts, they're usually trying to get to kind of like this magical number of 5 figures a month or 6 figures in a year. And that's around about £100,000. And the reason why a lot of people set that out is because A, it will increase their income. B, there's usually enough money in the business for the business to continue to grow. And 3, you remove the headache of financial stress because you're not having to think about making money and so on. Some people say to you, as long as I'm doing what I need to do, impacting my community, and just making enough, that's good enough for me. That's bullshit. First of all, I just want to share that part with you. So if you are approached where it seems like somebody's got a great offer to partner with you, to become like a business partner, work on a campaign or a project with you, here's what I want to share with you. Unless your business is hitting 100,000 or multiple 6 figures, you're still not even touching or scratching the surface with your own potential. And what can happen is you can get approached by people, and it might look like a bright, shiny new object, a bright new shiny thing that you can get your teeth stuck into, and it will make your business a success. But I want to share this part with you. You have the ability to at least get your business to around about £250,000 or $250,000, yeah, just off your own independent efforts and actions. And what I want to share in this story is that I was working with this woman, and she approached me. Unfortunately, she said, because at the time, you know, she was in one of my programs, and she reached out to me and she said, Leon, I've got this woman who potentially wants to work with me. It could be a great, outcome. We could create a great campaign. And she said, should I follow through? And I asked her a few questions. And my concluding response was, this is going to take away half of your profits. You're going to have to establish a new brand, joint brand. People will get confused between the two of you when you deliver one part and the other woman delivers the other part. And then you're trying to upsell them into something that you want them to buy. And then she wants to upsell them into something that she wants them to buy. And so the point that I want to get to, guys, is that partnerships can work out in business. But if you're in business on your own and you're looking to really take things to the next level, I would say to you, take full ownership. Do not spread your attention or dilute your attention by bringing another person in. Focus on what skills you need to get better at, because you have the ability to generate $250,000 plus just on your own, because you can hire VAs, you can outsource some things, you can get freelancers. But don't go into a business opportunity where you're now, off the back of any hard work you've set up in the previous years, you're now about to hand over that hard work to somebody else, and then probably end up with an inferior result or the same result you would have achieved on your own, but now you're splitting the profit between two of you. So what I'd say to you is that when things aren't going that well, make sure you take full ownership of what's going on and just look at what do I need to get better at, rather than let me go and work with this other person because maybe that will start to get better results. That's called a big distraction, guys. And it ends up being months and years down the line before you even realize that it was a distraction and a complete waste of your time. So that's story number 3. And this is my final story, bad habits. With what I'm talking about today, guys, and if this has resonated, what I've been sharing with you, just give me a yes in the comments below this. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, it just gives me an idea that actually it's making sense to you watching. And whether you're watching this live or watching it on the replay, I appreciate you guys as well. You can give me a hashtag live, hashtag replay. So story number 4 is about bad habits. And I guess, we all have bad habits, and I'd love for any of you watching right now to say, I don't have any bad habits. Just comment below. If you have no bad habits, comment no bad habits for me, because it will make me smile. And the reason being, we all have them. And usually bad habits show up as something called misbehaviors. But what I like to refer to my clients, when I'm coaching them, is these are your blind spots. And your blind spots are the things you don't see. You think it's normal behavior, but you don't see them. And bad habits, they come in all guises. And a lot of the time, thanks, Kimberly, thanks for commenting. Yes, it's making sense. So let me tell you about bad habits. Bad habits sometimes show up as things that you enjoy doing. Bad habits sometimes show up as things that you really get, I guess kind of like you feel like you've been rewarded. That's the word. I don't want to say I feel like it's happy or joyous or great things. And sometimes bad habits can create short-term happiness, short-term joy, and make you think that could never be a bad habit. So I'll give you a quick example. What if you're a drug addict? Yeah, if you're a drug addict, taking that drug makes you feel great, yeah, short-term. And what if you're alcoholic? Same thing, that experience of, getting to the point where, you get married, and then you get past married, and you start forgetting where you are. Yeah, short-term, right? It takes away the things that you need to be aware of. So ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And it takes away joy, because obviously there's the stuff that you have to pick up on. But let me get more clear and focused for you if you're a business owner. What if those bad habits are just being busy, but never producing results that your potential has the potential to produce? What if those bad habits show up as underpricing? What if those bad habits show up as criticizing people? What if those bad habits show up as things that don't move you forward? And as I said, bad habits are usually your blind spot. You don't see unless somebody points it out to you, or unless somebody responds and you think, well, that's weird. Why did they respond like that to this thing that I usually do that I know is good, and actually you start to realize that actually perhaps maybe it's not good. So let me talk more about these bad habits now. So bad habits, client. Yep. So I had one client before, and the bad habit that they had was indecision. Yeah. So what would happen is they would start a project, they would start a campaign, and then they would switch. Yeah. And so their bad habit was never following through. It was always switching. And the thing is, when you're experiencing bad habits, it's usually triggered by something, and usually that trigger is some form of stress. And the stress is when we can't cope with something, so we do something else to cope, or we do something else to distract ourselves away from what we need to be doing, right? That's usually what happens with drug addicts, alcoholics, people who think they're good by doing certain things, but never can figure out why they can't move forward. Yeah. People who, let's say, you know, they go to the gym, but then they have this bad habit of eating the wrong types of foods or overeating, never really feeling like they're making this great progress. Or in business, you know, doing things that will never allow them to grow because their ego and their bad habits pulls them back to old behaviors. These are all areas of bad habits, but usually your bad habits, as I said, that you can't see them because they're usually part of your blind spots. Have you ever had this experience happen to you? And this is for you watching right now. When somebody says, describe yourself, and you can probably describe about 3, perhaps 5 different things. But then if somebody says, can you describe the things that, you know, you're bad at or the bad habits you have? And usually we find it difficult because describing our bad habits either A, embarrasses us, B, we really don't understand, and C, it's difficult because your mind is there to protect you. So you don't want to really reveal that you have weaknesses, right? Or these bad habits. And this is the challenge we face as human beings mentally. So where do I want to go from this, guys? Now, if any of these stories have resonated with you as I've taken you through, you know, overcoming distraction, here are some steps that you can take. Yeah, and then I'm going to share 4 books with you that you can either read, so you can buy the books, or you can listen to on Audible on your phone or on your laptop. And these are things that have helped me, and these are things that have helped me, and I've shared them with clients and helped my clients as well. So increase your awareness to being mindful. So what is mindful? Mindful is your ability to stop, look around and say, whoa, I'm actually caught up in this busy cycle of this bad habit. Yeah, to know that you can just stop in the moment and say, actually, what's going on here? Like, am I just busy doing this work, or am I busy doing this activity and not even aware that I'm just being busy doing this thing and not stopping to say, yo, what's actually happening to me? Like, look around and say, you know, I don't have to do this thing. I can change direction. I can change activity. I can change the very nature of what I'm doing. Increase your awareness to become mindful. Most people are so stuck in a cycle, in a rut, or stuck on a hamster wheel being busy, they don't even have chance to stop, get their head up, take a breath, and like, whoa, I don't have to be drowning here. Yeah, that's the first step in awareness. And here's the next step. A lot of the times your distractions are based on stress and triggers, things that trigger you. So let's say somebody says something to you, like a customer, and it triggers you, or somebody says something to you online as part of your marketing. Let's say they put a comment under one of your posts or one of your ads, and it triggers you and it creates stress. And that moves you away from thinking, actually, how can I make my advertising campaign better next time? And instead of doing that, you get distracted and start working on something else, or start speaking to a friend to confide in them and tell them about how somebody complained about one of your ads, or something that distracts you. Yeah, you've got to become mindful to what are your stresses and your triggers. If you can start to become aware to these guys, I'm telling you, as a business owner, as a coach, as an expert, you open up your opportunities to really grow who you are and your business, and you'll stop hitting glass ceilings, and you'll stop getting to the point where you feel like you're constantly not moving forward, and you do actually make great progress. If you're stuck and you're thinking, well, I really don't understand how to become aware to stresses and triggers, just start writing down in the moment where you can look back and think, actually, I just wasted 2 hours scrolling Facebook or Instagram. Have a look at what started the trigger. Have a look at what started before you started wasting your time being distracted. Or if you were meant to be working on something, you got a project coming up, but you chose to do a different activity that you said, oh, this is more important, but you knew it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't urgent and it wasn't important. It was a distraction. Start writing down in a journal or a notepad. And trust me, you will change the things that you are going through and the results you see in your life, because being aware is what most people are blind to. That's a blind spot for everybody. Yeah, awareness. And it's only at the point of awareness that you can fix a problem. Yeah, so that's why it's so important, guys. Right. Review your results. So when things aren't working out and you're like, I can't figure out why I keep hitting this glass ceiling, I keep hitting the plateau, I don't know where to turn, look at your results. What produced that result? If the result wasn't a good result, what activities didn't you do? What activities did you do instead? If you produced a great result and you think, I don't know how to produce that result again, what activities did you do that produced the result that you need to do more of, that you're now avoiding? Yeah. And again, these are probably because of distractions that you've stopped doing them. Does this make sense, guys, so far? Yeah. Because honestly, when I play this game with myself and when I play it with my clients, it's crazy, because I love it, because I know what my client's about to reveal when I ask them specific questions around what I'm sharing with you in these steps here. And when I do it with myself, I'm like, okay, that's what that is. I need to change that. I need to change the end result because I'm not happy with the end result I've got. So I need to change the actions that led me to that end result. So what is number 3? Chunk your to-do list down. Create only 3 tasks a day. And if you're the kind of person who has 10 to 20 tasks a day because you love being busy, put the 3 most important tasks down that need to be done first. Anything that you have after that, only create the next to-do list. I call it a to-win list after you've completed those 3 tasks. So don't create like 3 tasks and then put all your extra tasks at the bottom saying, I'll do these when I've done these 3. Only put your 3 down, and when you've achieved those 3, are you allowed to write the rest? And I'll tell you why. Because if you're easily distracted, you'll automatically jump from those top 3 items at the top there, 3. You'll go to the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th, and you'll think, oh, I'll complete the other ones a bit later in the day. And that will never happen. And your to-do list keeps rolling over into the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year. And you're like, wow, how did that happen? So hopefully that makes sense, guys. Write down your top 3 activities or goals for that day, and the other tasks you are only allowed to write once you've achieved those top 3. Yeah. And it will really hurt you, and it'll make you feel like, oh, I really want to write these other ones down so I don't forget them. But in reality, if you write your most important ones, it doesn't matter about the other ones, right? So next step, create quiet time. As I said, a lot of the times when you're in a place of distraction and you've started to become aware, and if you haven't become aware and you are, you're at that, perhaps even this video has triggered you to become aware like of distraction in your life, in your business. Yeah. And this is why I see a lot of business owners fail. They're like, I can never get to this, or I never achieve that. And it's always because of the market, or it's because of COVID, it's because of lockdown, it's because of this, and excuses, no ownership, right? And even responsibilities like kids, family members whose health is not, great, and you've got to take care of them. There's so many different things that you can be distracted by, and there's a lot that are valid distractions, but it's still your choice whether you accept that in your life, right? And whether you choose not then to take the actions that you need to do to get to where you need to be, right? You got to create quiet time. Stress and triggers are a place where you're not in your mind in quiet time. So if you've got to meditate, if you've got to pray, if you've got to go for a walk, if you've got to go and do one of your hobbies, whether it's listen to music, that might not be quiet time, but it might be quiet time when you put your headphones on and you can just zone out and not have to be present, right? In the sense of present to all the distractions, you can just be present to yourself, to your own spirit. This is what quiet time is all about. And everybody has different vices, different things that, like when you're in the zone, it could be playing sport, it could be doing some exercise. It really doesn't matter. It could just be spending time with your kids if you don't spend much time with your kids because you're so busy in your business, distracted, right? But create quiet time, create time alone with yourself to just clear your mind. Yeah, because it will stop the need and that stressful feeling like I've got to be doing always. Yeah, put it into your calendar. Create quiet time where you force yourself to create that type of habit that will nourish you, that will be good for you. And a lot of us, because of the society we're in, internet now, likes, comments, direct access to people, instant, we feel like we can't create this quiet time, but you are allowed to switch off, guys. I had a message from one of my clients last night. She messaged me, I don't know, it must have been after 12 o'clock. And the first part in the message was, sorry for messaging you so late, Leon. And here's my response to her. So this morning when I wake up, I said, no worries. I put my phone onto flight mode from 11 o'clock every night, so I never see anything from anybody anyway. Why? Because I don't want to be distracted. I don't want my phone buzzing. I don't want it beeping. Even on my phone, I don't have any audible alerts. My phone is always on vibrate at the max. And then I set the apps that I will allow to vibrate. So most of the apps that I have, they don't even vibrate. So it's silent. I don't see them. I'm not distracted. I'm not interrupted. Yeah. The only distractions I create are the ones I want to create. That's it. And as I said earlier, we all have bad habits. So what's my next step, guys? Enjoy one of your hobbies. So if your quiet time is linked to a hobby, do it. Like, force yourself to do it. And, you know, sometimes it may feel like you're forcing yourself to do something that you need. Like for me, like listening to music's a big thing for me. Like I have to listen to music. Like I carry my Bluetooth headphones around with me because like I love to listen to specific types of music, and it just puts me in the zone. And usually it's heavy bassline music. So we're talking drum and bass, hip hop, or grime. And like I love that kind of music. It just really puts me on a high. And don't get me wrong, there are times where I put on different types of music, you know, whether it's soul from the 70s, 80s, 60s, R&B, just different things like that. But I use those things to get me in the zone. Yeah, I do exercises because I know my body's feeling good. Yeah, and when I'm doing hobbies, the things that I really enjoy, it puts me in the zone, guys. And this removes the need for distraction because I'm giving myself time to do something that is good for me. Yeah. So these are the books I recommend, guys. I'm just going to zoom in on screen. These are the books I recommend. If you are a highly distracted person, if you are a busy person and never have enough time to do what you want, if you are a person who's always helping other people and never have enough time to help yourself, these books are for you if you're easily distracted. If you want to be able to create deep, you know, meaningful work, deep, meaningful time in the stuff you enjoy, and you just want to become more highly effective. Atomic Habits by James Clear. It talks about how to habit stack, get over your bad habits, indistractable. So in this book, Nair talks about how to get over the distractions of the life that we're in right now in society. Stephen R. Covey with 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is probably one of the first books that I read on avoiding distractions. I'm just checking which bookshelf it's on. Actually, it's over there, Stephen Covey. This book was essential for me, Stephen Covey, because I understood more about putting things into my calendar instead of just saying, oh, I'll get to it, or I'll create a to-do list. And, you know, just basically disorganization and creating a lot of distraction for myself. And the more I understood and used his simple 7-day timetable, it really changed a lot of things in my business, probably from 10 years ago. Deep Work by Cal Newport just talks about, you know, as it says on the front, rules for focused success in a distracted world. Distraction is your enemy, guys. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what business you're in. Like if you're the most successful coach, the most successful expert, whatever you are, distraction is your enemy. And the better you get at spotting it, the better you get at raising your awareness to it, the better you get at figuring out what you need to be doing and what's going on with you psychologically, what's triggering you and what's stressing you out, that's causing you to do these distracting behaviors or actions or whatever it is, the more successful you become. Distractions come because of fears, insecurities, low self-worth, low confidence, poor programming from what you've learned as behavior as a child that is now manifesting itself into your adult life. Just these different things can only be tackled once you raise your awareness, guys. And that's the part that I want to leave you with today, is overcoming distractions by raising your awareness and then taking the necessary steps that you'll probably pick up in what I've shared today, but also in those books that I've shared with you. Guys, if this has resonated with you, you know, please let me know in the comment now. Give me a like, give me some hearts. Let me know what's your number one next step that you're going to take to overcome your distractions. And if you want help growing your coaching or expert business, just comment grow below this video. The one thing is, I want to share with you, I may call myself a visionary marketing coach, but you'd be surprised at how much I talk about mindset to my clients, because you can only truly market your business successfully once you start to understand your distractions and overcome your fears around moving forward to achieve your potential. You see, growing a business isn't just different departments and you excel in one department. The department you gotta get a hold on actually fixes you, because you're the common denominator, you as the business owner. So if you're a coach, an expert right now, and you're looking to take things to the next level, then I just say to you guys, comment, grow below this video. I just want to say, guys, thank you very much for watching. I've enjoyed today's content. I hope you have too. And remember, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Why do I tell you to do that? Because there's tons of value on the YouTube channel. Just go to leonstreet.com/YouTube, or just search for my name, Leon Street, on YouTube. Hit subscribe, click on the notification bell, and you'll be notified of all the amazing upcoming videos. Guys, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Easter. I just want to say to you, happy Easter. I've got a great day planned. We got some family coming over. We got some Easter eggs. We got chocolate. Go and enjoy some time with your family today, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.